Hello, I'm Derek Dine Johnson, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Mr. Enter. Again. Basically, this is in response to a video he just recently put out, as in yesterday, about the orcs race issue. Now, I make one thing perfectly clear. This isn't really as bad as his anti-masker COVID other videos, even his PSA video. I also do not think that Mr. Enter is actually racist. Rather, I think he's just incredibly ignorant on many issues and could use a genuine education. First thing I want to tear bar is basically him saying that, well, pit bulls are primarily a violent breed. Sure, a few might not be, but they're just a violent breed of dog. It's just fact. They're really not, though. It only takes a simple Google search to find that pit bulls are not genetically or inherently violent. Yes, many can be, but because they were specifically bred by dog fighters to be violent and aggressive. But here's the thing, that can be unlearned from them. That can easily be trained out of them. So technically, Extra Credits was correct on this point. Another thing is where he basically said, well, I do agree with him that the alt-right is a cult that preys on people and turns them into genuine extremists. The problem, though, is he basically said, tried to downplay it by saying, well, it's a cult. They can change, which, yes, they can. I'm not one of those weird leftists that think people can never change and we have to harass everybody who ever joined any group that was wrong, except for the tankies. They're just holy and blessed by Marx. Oh, and yeah, a lot of the leftists that do this are not the patron saints that they like to make themselves out to be. But here's the thing, Mr. Enter, it doesn't matter whether they were raised in a racist family or not, they still chose to, as Matt put it, wear the Klan hood, or to put on the Nazi uniform, which is an evil choice, as again, both those groups' main goal is complete and utter genocide. Now, to be fair, yes, again, the KKK, the alt-right, the whatever you want to call it, does prey on particularly young white men, and basically slowly indoctrinates them into this idea that the blacks and the Mexicans and the other races are just inferior, and the Jews are secretly running the world and have lied to everybody to garner sympathy and make their world domination much more easier. We all know that's bullshit. There is no actual, genuine, solid evidence that black people are inferior, or that Jews are actually running the world. It's all based on cherry-picked bullshit and wishful thinking to justify their own hatred. And you know what? Absolutely, we should help people who are willing to leave those groups leave. And I do think that people can be brought out of that and turned into good people. But and you know what? I'll give Mr. Enter credit. He did point out, how in the Nazi regime, if you didn't go along with the regime, you just ended up getting thrown into the freaking concentration camps, which, yeah, was bad. But here's the thing. The people that were just going along because they had no real other choice and didn't really see any other option, those people never really got to any actual positions of power. Sure, they may have been a low-level soldier or ran a factory or something, but they never really got to, be a general, run a camp, be part of Hitler's inner circle. Those were all reserved for the true believers who genuinely wanted to kill every single Jew that was alive and to take over the world for Nazism. Now we get into the main crux, which was basically Extra Credit's point was that basically just writing this entire fantasy race as evil can be used to, draw parallels to the real world and, can be used by actual racists as a way of saying, look, all of this race is evil. Now, of course, most people aren't going to fall for that. The problem with that is that it's a dog whistle, basically a subtle way of purporting your own beliefs without actually stating it outright. Stone Toss and Nick Fuentes are two people that are pretty notorious for doing this. But here's the thing, Enter. Nobody's saying that making all orcs evil in like your D&D campaign or something will actually turn people who don't think all black people are evil and deserve to be shot in the face into violent racists that want to commit a literal genocide. What they're saying is that this can embolden and give basically a way of subtly talking about their beliefs to actual legit white nationalists and other, fucking alt-right types. And allow them to, enter fandom and start saying racist stuff in a really innocuous way. And that it's simply lazy storytelling. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every single time you have to have these complex moral figures in every single, fantasy species. Things like slimes in an RPG game, or, other enemies in an RPG game, or the goblins from Goblin Slayer, I think are okay to all portray as evil because they're not actually portrayed as a race or species in the fantasy work. They're basically just portrayed as glorified wild animals that are out to attack you that you just have to fucking kill in order to get out of your way. Which is perfectly harmless, in my opinion. I'm also not saying that everybody who writes all orcs to be evil is necessarily racist, but simply that can be used by actual racists to help spread their view without too many people noticing. Good example of this is like when Milo Yiannopoulos went on the Dave Rubin report and was like, well, it's not anti-Semitic to simply state facts. Statistically, the bankers are mostly Jews, and the people in power are mostly Jews. It's just statistics. Which, no, that's not true, and that's literally just a way of spreading Jewish question bullshit without being noticed. And look, Mr. Enter, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. If you are watching this, which I don't really think you are, I hold no ill will towards you. I do not hate you. I don't think that you're bigoted or that you hate black people or anything like that. I simply think you just might be a bit ignorant on some subjects, that you should probably study up more on them before speaking on them. This was not meant to be a personal attack on you, and I genuinely do not wish you any ill. Well, that's video for today. Bye.